Hello, welcome to Tom's Family Worship, where we explore stories that inspire us and grow us in our faith and love as we grow as a family. Today's story is about a man named Daniel. Daniel's story is pretty impressive, but we're going to look at one specific part of it where he trusted God when everything else seemed impossible. So let's dive into this story of Daniel in the lion's den and see what lessons we can learn for our lives today. I'm Tom Gearing, and this is Tom's Family Worship. Let me set the scene for you. Daniel was stolen from his hometown when he was just a teenager. But he decided to be faithful to God in the way he lived his life. He lived with integrity. That means that he was faithful to the things that he believed in. When he thought something was right, he did it. If he thought it was wrong, he wouldn't. He also was honest and a pretty hard worker. Now, this had put him, actually, surprisingly, as one of the king's right-hand men. He was favored there because of his wisdom, his honesty, and his integrity. However, there were some other officials that were jealous of him. They got together and they were scheming. And they were thinking, what can we do to get rid of Daniel? Daniel's honest living was getting in the way of their selfishness. Well, these people got together and they thought, we got to find something bad about Daniel. Everybody's got something bad. But they couldn't find anything wrong with him. But there was one practice that he would do every single day. And they thought, aha, we can use this. So they went to the king and they said, oh, king, you're so amazing. You're so smart. In fact, nobody should pray to anybody, any god, anything except you for 30 days. Make that a rule. This appealed to the king's pride, and he thought, you know what? I am pretty cool. All right, it's a deal. Make it a law. And in this country, when laws were made, they couldn't be changed. Do you know what Daniel did every single day? Now, this was a problem for Daniel. Because every single day, 3 times a day, he would kneel down in front of his window, facing Jerusalem, and pray to God. What is Daniel going to do? Despite this new law, he remains faithful to his practice, and he gets down on his knees and he prays to God. Well, these officials, they were like, yes, 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 we got him. And so they went back and they reported to the king and they said, hey, didn't you make this law? He said, why, yes, I did. And didn't you say that anybody who doesn't obey it has to be thrown to the lions? It's like, yes, I did. Well, guess what? Daniel was praying to his God. Oh, the king realized that these guys were schemy. And he did not want to throw Daniel into the lion's den because he liked Daniel. And so he was thinking and he was plotting, how can we get around this? And these guys, they were like, you made a law. It can't be changed. And he's like, dang it, they're right. So the king went and he took Daniel and he had him thrown into this pit with lions in it. These lions were kept on hand and especially hungry. This was a common way for the kings to get rid of people they didn't like. But this time, the king wanted Daniel to be saved, and so he said, may your God, whom you serve continually, rescue you. Do you think you would be afraid? I think Daniel was afraid. And he was thrown down into the pit with these roaring lions all around him. But you know what happened? God sent an angel. And the angel calmed those lions down, and they didn't even take a little nibble out of Daniel. God shut the mouths of the lions, and Daniel was unharmed. The next day, the king, he didn't get a lick of sleep that night. He ran down to the lion's den, and he said, Daniel, Daniel, are you there? Did your God save you? And Daniel called up, yes, king, my God has saved me. And I haven't done anything against you either. And Daniel was saved from the lions. This actually was incredible because now, not only did people know that Daniel served God, but the king was like, this God is so powerful, nobody should say anything bad about him. Let's think about this story for a minute. What do you think was going through Daniel's mind when he was facing the lion's den? He knew that if he knelt down and prayed, he would be giving his life away. You wonder, why didn't he just pray but kind of do it secretly? He kept up his practice because that was most important to him, and he trusted that God would take care of him. And even if God would have let him die, he knew that he had to be faithful to God. Sometimes we face challenges, and it feels like there's no way out. We can't escape. Just because we are faithful to God doesn't mean we won't face difficulties like Daniel did. But just as God was faithful to Daniel, He is with you, and He'll be faithful as well. It doesn't mean it'll always turn out the way you want it, but we know that God is always with us. The other thing about this story that stands out to me is that Daniel was able to have faith in this situation because of the way he lived his life. Sometimes it might be tempting to say, well, I don't have to be good now, but maybe when it really matters for something really serious, I'll be faithful then. But it was Daniel's faithful life, the way he lived in all of the little things, from the day he entered Babylon until that day, that prepared him to be able to trust God in this situation that really counted. Because when Daniel's life was in danger, he didn't do anything new, but he simply kept trusting and praying in God. I got a few questions for you and your family to take a few moments to talk about. Feel free to pause this and talk about it. When was a time that you had to trust in God, even though it was hard? How can you as a family support one another when you are facing a lion's den of your own? And lastly, what are some ways that you can stay faithful to God even when others don't understand? Dear Jesus, thank you so much for stories like this that show that you are with us, that you are powerful and can turn any bad situation into something good. Dear Jesus, thank you that you are with us, whether the lions are roaring and it looks like we're about to be devoured or everything is looking good. God, help us to develop a relationship with you now so that we can lean into that when the lions are right in front of us. Amen. Just as God was with Daniel in the lion's den, He is with you in every situation you face. You can trust Him no matter what. If you would like to share a story with me where you faced something difficult, I'd love to hear it. You can email me at pastortomgearing@gmail.com. Thank you so much for worshiping with me today here on Tom's Family Worship. I'm Tom Gearing, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.